Just click live, and we'll just wait for because there's like a 30-second delay, so we'll just wait for a couple people to get in. Let me tell the whatchamacallit chat.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, we're live. Let me tell the Discord chat.
We're live?
Yeah, but we're just gonna wait for people to get in first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think we could start. We have a couple people on.
Yeah, I see some people
okay.
in chat.
Welcome everyone to the our first ever debate on the ConserveGenz YouTube channel. So we're gonna have a marijuana debate. For representing anti-marijuana is going to be Patriot Politics, and representing pro-marijuana is going to legalization is going to be Jeremy. So I'm going to be the moderator, and Michael's going to be the guest moderator, just to make sure everything goes on topic. And we'll start off with opening statements for Patriot, and then an opening statement by Jeremy, and it'll just be free discussion from there. We're going to be offhands moderators. So whoever's decided to go first, you can go.
Sure, I can go first. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear me, right? Okay, good. My name is Jeremy Kuleka, and I'm for the pro-weed argument today. Many of y'all know what is weed, obviously, because it definitely plays a big impact on the economy and health of today's society. It's a big discussion that people want to legalize it, people want to not legalize it, and I think that it should be legal because it has significantly a lot of positive more than negative, and that weed has obviously could play a big role in the U.S. overall for the potential future. And
all right, should I jump into mine?
Yeah.
All right. So marijuana, like all other drugs, is a surrogate for reconciliation and communion with a higher purpose. Like any substance, there are certain roles marijuana may play in the medicinal field as some sort of remedy, but by and large, it is used to fulfill a gaping hole in the lives of those devoid of greater purpose. Accordingly, it is unsustainable juxtaposed to long-term stable alternatives like religion, family, and community. Marijuana use often culminates in a slippery slope of insatiable addiction. This plays into a larger theme, which is truly the crux of this debacle. Humans are not completely rational actors, nor are they inherently virtuous. This is axiomatic. At the forefront of this debate is the surmise that so long as people pursue their self-perceived best interest, it will invariably benefit the collective. But this is demonstrably and decidedly not the case. Regardless of the societal implications of marijuana, the legalization of marijuana is demonstrably indicative of faulty and unsustainable legislation, and I can discuss those reasons now if you'd like. So,
sure.
Do you want me to go with my first contention?
Sure.
Right.
You said that. Wait, I'm talking, right? Okay. So you said that marijuana could be the legalization of it could be very harmful. Basically, you agree with that, right?
Well, I think that. Well, it has been legalized in certain U.S. states, and empiricism shows that it hasn't been good. And so we shouldn't let the elephant out of the room and continue to nationalize it on domestic
Colorado.
scale.
Okay.
Yeah, I could discuss.
Though, in Colorado, it added. You said it had a negative impact on certain state, but I would disagree with that statement because in Colorado it added 10,000 jobs into the industry. More jobs are coming into the industry and reduce of crime. So if it's attacking massive incarceration, right, and less people are going to jail for it, and it's not a waste of time for police officers right now, where they have to go into low areas, communities, because mostly black men are the one who black men are the highest consumers of weed. So I see
All right.
I see that has a benefit.
Yeah, you touched on a few points there. So first, I want to touch on crime. So we didn't see a holistic increase in crime because the crime levels kind of reached equilibrium because you no longer have the marijuana arrests. And moreover, it's uncontested that there was increased crime around dispensaries when we legalized marijuana. In Denver, researchers found that neighborhoods with one or more medical or recreational dispensaries saw increased crime rates that were between 26 and 1,452% higher than in neighborhoods without any commercial marijuana activity. And we also saw violent crimes increase 25% from 2013 to 2017. But my biggest contention with the marijuana market is that the legalization of marijuana hasn't contributed to any sort of minimization of a black market, according to Colorado itself. Because these cartels have a monopoly in the market share, they can effectively stomp over all other competition. And all these dispensaries, they're mom and pop stores, whereas these cartels work under the law. They don't pay into the tax system. They offer marijuana at a much cheaper price than the market. And so they're able to effectively maintain their consumer base. And moreover, there's a psychological reason for this. People have a consumer preference for those they are familiar with. And we see people continuing to go to the black market, regardless of the legalization of marijuana. And so we have seen the black market expand in Colorado within the confines of Colorado itself, not even on the borders, not even on the border states where weed isn't legal.
Mm-hmm. So like, what the heck is that sound?
You gotta get out.
On Zoom?
Yes.
Yo, Patreon, mute if someone's talking.
Okay, so I was gonna say that was gonna bring up a fact that in 2017 more Americans were arrested for the marijuana possession than murder, rape, aggressive assault, and robbery combined. So there's things like your marijuana arrests in America is getting out of control, and there need to be something for that, right? Like the legalization of marijuana has not been helping. Like such thing as prohibition. Would you agree that? Would you say that prohibition has been a success? Like prohibition such have like alcohol back in the 1920s.
Well, I'd say that prohibition is a lot different. So when alcohol prohibition ended in 1933, bootlegged alcohol gradually and almost completely disappeared. And you would assume the same would happen with the legalization of marijuana, but that's demonstrably not the case. It shows it's wishful thinking. Because there's little similarity between the bootleg industry of alcohol production that existed during Prohibition and contemporary drug trafficking organizations. Today's illegal drug production and distribution system is deeply entrenched, highly sophisticated, and powerfully globalized. They're effectively monopolies over these market shares. Traffickers are resourceful and able to rapidly adjust to changes in the market, including competing with legal drugs because they offer prices lower than the market share because they don't abide by these legal regulations over the marijuana market. And I also want to touch upon the arrest stuff you brought up. So the interesting thing is that if a felon is convicted with a violent crime, but then he is also convicted with a drug charge on top of that, it goes in as a non-violent drug crime. And so that kind of masquerades the true driving force behind this mass incarceration of drug users.
Mm-hmm.
And
so would you agree that would you say that Ronald Reagan, or the war on drugs, it wasn't a failure, complete failure?
Yeah, the war on drugs was kind of also misconstrued and ruined by Ronald Reagan's manipulation. I think it was a good idea, just a very, very bad implementation. Yeah. I mean, I think you
agree that the war on drug have failed completely. Like even in a sense, not failed completely, but in a sense, the war on drug has failed. So the war on drug, which affected which been affecting mostly minorities until today. And today, the war on drugs is basically weed.
Well, I mean, minorities are more prone to use drugs in public and with strangers, whereas white people are more prone to use drugs in private spaces with people that they know. But I mean, also you have to think about like what metric you're measuring the success of these endeavors on. Because if you look even at prohibition, like if the goal of prohibition was to decrease alcohol consumption, it was a success because it did dramatically decrease alcohol consumption. But obviously, you saw the crime ramp up. But with the legalization of weed, that's not the case. The opposite actually happens because the black market expands and all these externalities that come with the black market perpetuate and exponentiate.
But would you not agree that prohibition can hurt the economy and in terms of lost wages?
Well, the thing is that, like, if you're talking about the economic benefits, you're assuming that people are paying into like the legal system, the legal tax system. But this isn't
You're
the
referring
case.
to the black market, right?
I'm referring to the black market juxtaposed to the legal market because these consumers have a psychological preference for their plugs. They aren't, going to these dispensaries, and we've seen the black market expand accordingly. So the economic benefits are kind of negligible. And I think also, like, this idea that economic gain should be given precedence over, an addictive substance that can really, destroy the lives of individuals and families, communities alike. So
destroy the lives of the individual in terms of how and one standard.
You want me to like?
Can you get deep in that? I'm
we can talk about the implications of marijuana use. So it affects children and adults, arguably children even more. Babies, children, teenagers are especially susceptible to the hurtful effects of marijuana. A study more than 30 years in the making found that smoking marijuana permanently lowers intelligence and IQ. It affects motor skills, cognitive capacity, decision-making, memory. According to Lancet, which is arguably the most reputable medical journal in the country, marijuana is a gateway drug because it raises the threshold for a high, and people will need to either smoke more, although they'll need to move to a stronger drug to service their insatiable appetite for a high. Coordinations, reaction time, emotions, and 60%. Well, I was just going to say it's highly addictive. Like people don't think marijuana is addictive, but yeah, 60% of marijuana users who started before the age of 18 are addicted.
But okay, I wonder where are you getting the term addicted? Because like there are also studies that shows that marijuana is not as addictive than things like alcohol and other things like that. Because obviously the THC, right?
THC.
The THC, right? Like there's certain study that kind of goes against that disproves that goes and says that like marijuana is not as addictive as tobacco and even caffeine, and people can get addicted to caffeine and alcohol, which are other things like that, which I'm pretty sure you believe they should be banned too, right?
No, I don't believe that caffeine should be banned because I think you also have to look at the other externalities surrounding marijuana. And also, over the past few years, marijuana has become increasingly powerful and increasingly prone to being laced with other substances, especially within the black market,
which
expands
definitely
upon
growing.
this legalization.
I mean, it's one of the largest crop in the U.S. It's growing. It's going to keep growing. It's inevitable to say marijuana is not going to keep growing in the U.S. Like,
well,
Colorado,
I wasn't saying like the actual. I wasn't saying like the actual amount, but like the the powerfulness of the drug itself has increased in recent years. But sorry for interrupting you.
Oh no, it's fine. It's completely fine.
You want to touch on like? All right, cool. Were you going to touch upon like tax revenue?
Well, I was. Oh, crap! I kind of lost my train of thought. You were saying a lot that marijuana is a gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
And in a way, so a study by Pittsburgh, right? Study by Pittsburgh that I was looking up, saying which was going against it, basically saying it wasn't a gateway drug and it wasn't had addicted into things like that. We can talk about. I can bring up studies saying it's not addicted. You can bring up studies saying it is addicted. But can we jump into the psychological benefit and
yeah, sure. Because if there's like conflicting evidence, we can just look at the things that are general consensus among marijuana.
Okay, so
I think. What do you want? Do you want me to talk about like the psychological effects?
Oh yeah, you was talking about in terms of weed, there's a lot of psychological effects that plays in it, and you were saying that plays in something as in like family or something on that. Can you touch on that subject?
Yeah, so I think we have to recognize that addiction doesn't influence the addicted only. Someone who's dealing with addiction, it's going to influence relationships with family, friends. It can disrupt the workplace because their coworkers may need to compensate for their ineptitude. And it even hurts people on the larger scale because, who's funding these government programs made to deal with these addicts? It's the taxpayers. And just the funneling of drugs into communities, as we saw with the war on drugs, because there were drugs being pumped into those communities, it destroyed these communities, the effects of which are evident today. And so people turn to drugs out of desperation. Family and community.
So usually have the coping mechanism.
Exactly.
I would agree.
Yeah, because family and community, religion, they all act as a check upon human impulses. Studies show that of those who are religious, religion plays the largest role in their decision making. And moreover, religious youth are less likely to experiment with drugs and other addictive substances and promiscuity in general. And so, attacking the drugs itself, limiting their accessibility, it will ultimately remedy the issue because the root cause is these drugs being used as a surrogate for these greater purposes.
But you could say the same thing about alcohol and other things that are legal, which you could argue that are more harmful than weed. In a sense, people use those.
I'm not a huge fan of alcohol. I'm not a huge fan of alcohol. I think another thing is that like alcohol production is a lot different, and as cited, the empiricism shows that legalizing weed has much different effects than legalizing alcohol because their productions are vastly dissimilar. And the drug cartels that have developed over the years have effectively monopolized the industry to the point where this isn't an issue that can be dealt with through economics and markets and legalization. It's an issue that we have to stop in its tracks. We can't let the elephant out of the cage, and we have to deal with the damage that's already been done.
Okay. Are you going to add on more to that? So basically, we're looking at it from a psychological perspective. You're seeing it has bad. You're seeing that weed itself is bad in the long term, overall.
It's unsustainable because it's a short-term substitution for other long-term other long-term considerations. But I mean, if we look at the actual like implications of weed use, it's a risk factor for schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. It fulfills many, if not all, of the standard criteria for the epidemiological establishment of causation for these psychotic disorders. Impaired memory, and I think we also have to consider, because most marijuana is inhaled, it would pose the adverse effects any other smoking mechanism would. So like cigarettes and vapes and such, because you're still inhaling the smoke. So I guess I'll leave it off.
I would argue that there are like cigarettes. You could argue. Would you agree with me on a sense that cigarette is a little bit more harmful than weed?
Not really, because I think that weed has this connotation that it's not really that bad, and through the data that I've cited, it is something very harmful, particularly to our youth. And cigarettes have this kind of connotation, this stigma around them that dissuades our youth from engaging in cigarettes, indulging in cigarettes, whereas weed doesn't have this, and it's so pervasive. And it's no coincidence that addictions have gone up exponentially as drug accessibility has become easier. Like, show that as drugs become legalized, usage does go up. I mean, it's axiomatic.
Well, yeah, that's obviously going to happen. But one of the main reasons I would argue for like weed is like there's a burden of proof for like marijuana prohibition advocating. Okay, it would be high enough, right? But it's definitely high in, like, I'm looking at it definitely from an economic perspective and could benefit. There's a lot of things you could say that could go out against it, but from an economic perspective, and like for massive incarceration right now, especially in people, like, the way of the system we have right now isn't working with weed, especially. That's why Illinois passed it to be legal, and it has been definitely. I keep referring back to the economy. I need to talking about it psychologically, but that's why it helped Illinois. Definitely, it's been helping Illinois in, like, okay, you would disagree with the reduced crime rate, right? But there's not many. Yeah, but there's not.
It doesn't. It increases crime. But
you said what?
I mean, I think like you said that it's been like a failure, and as I've explained, legalization has been as much of, if not more of, a failure. So I think a good point to build on is the idea that we shouldn't let the elephant out of the cage. We should keep it where it's at and focus on improving the system that we already have. Decriminalization is another option as well. We're talking legalization. That's a step further. But would you okay? I guess we can. So would you agree with me? We're talking about legalization. We're not talking about decriminalization.
Okay, that's fair. So would you agree with me that, like, weed and weed overall has impacted and affected many minorities' life overall in decades?
Yeah, but I don't think we can pit the blame, entirely on other factors, irrespective of personal choice, because as I cited, minorities are more likely to use drugs in public and with strangers, and thus they're more susceptible to, being arrested for it.
I mean, there's things like intelligent policing, which the police go to low income areas, which lower income areas happen to be Black people, which Black people and drugs, things like that, goes hand to hand. So it's a burden of proof that there's obviously stats that shows that it's been affecting this particular part race. So why? Okay, would you agree with me that we need to decriminalize weed?
Well, I think that's kind of a pivot, because that's not the the actual that's not the actual question of this debate. I think I also want to point out about the minorities, Black people specifically. They're much more likely to have a criminal record and commit violent crime, both of which are taken into account in a courtroom. As I cited, Blacks are more prone to public drug use, and most drug data derives from self-reporting, so that's faulty in and of itself. And as I adduced earlier in the debate, if a drug charge is slapped on a violent crime, that goes down as a non-violent drug crime, and that inflates the numbers of non-violent drug offenders in our prison system.
Okay.
So I mean, I think there's a lot of externalities that we have to take into account when discussing, like.
I mean, of course, there's a lot of factors. I mean, of course, there's a lot of factors that goes into it. Like, especially having Black people that go to court and that are from lower income family, they get like a public defender. Most likely, a public defender isn't likely to win your case. So that is something definitely that can goes into it. So, like, in a sense, I agree with you that there's a lot of factors overall that goes into this. So, which isn't something that we can disprove each other. But I guess the one thing that we can disprove each other on this would be back again the more psychological and like what else, like
how dangerous the drug
potential,
is.
I mean, how far the potential for the legalization of weed overall.
Mm-hmm. You mean like
you have some
on like the actual effects of weed?
Yes. And like these social effects of weed overall.
Okay. I guess marijuana use frequently can cause disorientation, sometimes unpleasant thoughts, feeling of anxiety, paranoia. Marijuana use is linked to depression, anxiety, and suicide among teens. Memory, problem-solving skills, attention, all of which impact, things like educational attainment. When drugs impair someone's ability to communicate and effectively act how they normally would, that's going to hurt relationships.
There's actually sites that I was going to say there's actually sites that disprove the depression. There's actually several studies that disagrees and said that marijuana helps with depression, like in a medical term. But you keep going.
Well, studies show that the medical benefits of marijuana is slightly above that of a placebo. And a placebo is literally thinking to yourself that you're better. So the medical effects are pretty much negligible. But when someone's addicted to drugs, they think, when someone's addicted to anything for that matter, they think the substance that they are addicted to is all they will ever need for happiness and to sustain their lives. And at that point, it overrides other considerations, things like fostering relationships within a family setting, within a school setting, within a communal setting. And so drugs are really, they personify this idea of short-term pleasure overriding other long-term considerations. Yeah.
But okay, you was talking back to the depression part, which of course, okay, you can say it's a placebo effect, right? But there's also studies that show that weed helps users, like consumers with chronic pain, right? Since chronic pain is like the most common use for medical marijuana. And and also there's a doctor that give those consumers like weed to like help them cope with it as a coping mechanism.
I mean, I think medical marijuana is also kind of like a different discussion. Like I think I could be open to that idea if there weren't any other viable alternatives for treating chronic pain, but that would have to be heavily regulated because you have that leeway for shady dealings within the medicinal field. But I think another thing that I want to touch on is the just the flawed nature of humans and the human propensity to use freedom badly. Because humans are inherently flawed, when given leeway to do as they please, they will almost always capitulate to short-term pleasure. This is shown even in biblical stories like the fall of man, which personifies, all of humanity. And, a contemporary example would be free trade. So free trade, sure, it allows for the exuberant flow of goods and job specialization, but we foster a massive trade deficit with the rest of the world by lowering our trade barriers, which is inherently myopic and will inevitably lead to a point at which we'll have to limit consumption to service the debt, selling off our productive capital, debt, etc. We're irrationally selling off long-term projects in favor of short-term consumption, and this personifies drug use. It shows that, humans, when given the leeway, when these trade barriers are lifted and you have the freedom, humans will choose short-term gain over other long-term prolific considerations. And so,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, I agree with you on that because, humans are very just messed up creatures. We do tend to pick things that give us like short-term pleasures, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But what? Okay. They give us like short-term pleasure, but short-term pleasure, I can't defend that. But I'm talking about like the use overall of weed. So I think that
all right.
free up people. What? I'm hearing something. What am I hearing?
Do you guys have an issue with the mics?
If you're not talking, just go on mute.
Are you on mute? Okay, good. All right. So I was saying that like I was agreeing with him in a sense that humans are very like messed up creatures. We tend to find things that give us short-term pleasures in a way like that, right? But you could say that with almost anything in society. We're already to the point where we can't go back. We can't go back. We have to start looking at things where we can treat these things, like where we can treat how weed is impacting us right now. Because I don't think that prohibition overall is like have been a positive impact overall. So
and I'm not arguing for prohibition. I'm just arguing to stop legalizing it, stop heading down this path. The vase of prohibition has dropped and shattered. That will never be able to be reciprocated. But the vase of nationalized weed legalization, that's not been dropped yet. And so I think we should stop it in its tracks and figure out pragmatic ways to deal with these addicts. Try to find more ways to invigorate these communities and supply them with better alternatives, so as to get people off this cyclical addiction that will just exponentiate if we allow it to persist.
But you agree having weed using it for medical purposes?
I think that's a different discussion, but I could be open to that if there were no viable alternatives to treat chronic pain. I don't really know the other.
There's also, besides chronic pain, anxiety, there's also PTSD treatment. Cannabis is used as a popular PTSD treatment.
But then again, like overall studies show that the medical benefits of marijuana is slightly above that of a placebo. So it's like it's like that one benefit will not outweigh the potential externalities. But I can be open to it if it was highly regulated. But then again, I think if we're talking like just weed legalization for recreational use on the macro scale, I think that would be it's demonstrably not something that would be good based on what we've seen where it has been legalized.
As in California. Well, no, not California. As in Colorado.
As in Colorado, yeah.
Right? As in Colorado itself specifically, which is, and you argue that well, you were saying that. Okay, what would you say that having government attacking personal freedom, people's freedom?
Do we have a right to marijuana?
As of right now,
I
no.
think, yeah, if we had a right to it, it would be, if we had an explicit right to it, it would be out of the question. But I think this ties back to that idea of, humans being biologically beastly, animalistic creatures. Adherence to abstract principles of, having the autonomous individual, it won't do us any good. Principles exist to regulate action, but if principles effectively facilitate defeat, they're nothing more than clauses of a suicide note, and they will, lead to the destabilization of society. What good is adherence to this idea of, freedom if the axis around which America, the axis around which these ideas were fostered, disintegrates? If America's social fabric continues to erode at the hands of freedom,
One second. So I see we're kind of getting into the discussion of like what's the government's purview. You could discuss that. That's fine by me. So if you want to talk about like the role of government when it comes to freedom and liberty, specifically with marijuana, that's fine. I just want to say that you can go into that discussion.
Okay. I didn't even know you were still here.
Yeah, and make sure to just stick to. You guys can also bring up the prohibition, but don't delve too much into the prohibition or any other historical example for that matter. Try to keep on relevant, modern.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, just specifically, we can talk about like what is more a libertarian approach to government versus a conservative. But go ahead. I'm done.
So, I think we just have to ask ourselves, if America's social fabric erodes entirely, what good is that idea of freedom if we're basically all slaves to our desires? We're not free. Like, are you free because you can go home and do drugs? You're addicted to those drugs, but you have the freedom to do it, so you're free. No, you're not free. You're a slave to your desires. And for the longest time in America, the idea of liberty and freedom, it was one of virtuous self-rule. Being able to sufficiently regulate your desires through paternalism, particularly, which is effectively restraint for the greater good of the community. And this was fostered. This restraint was fostered through things like family, community, and religion, which on the flip side also cultivated virtue and habituated virtue and allowed these people to self-govern. Like, if we look back at the early 20th century, America was much more unified. We had a common religion, a common culture, a strong family structure, and not at all coincidentally, the government was much smaller. And the government was much smaller because our society consisted of moral, virtuous people who were capable of self-governance. And so this being able to govern yourself effectively overrides the necessitation of big government.
Okay. Which, I mean, I'll have to lock for this one because I agree on that and disagree. But so would you say that an individual doesn't have okay? What do you think basically is that? Oh my! Can you mute yourself?
Yo, Patriot, when Jeremy's not talking, mute yourself because you have an echo in your mic.
Okay. What are you saying basically? A society that deserves freedom, like back, like you were saying that in the 1920s, basically that people were. What was I about to say? All right, the government only was small because that people were allowed to, like, they were different people. Basically, people had different tenets of moral. So morality back in the 1920s were different.
The conditions of society were different, and they were more conducive to a self-governing population. You know,
I mean,
small government can only be fully realized and maintained as a byproduct of a stable society. And to prove this, we have to think about why people turn to the government in the first place. People turn to the government out of a feeling of loss of control over their lives in various spheres, disenfranchisement. And so I look at the example of single mothers. You know, when there's no partner there to help facilitate financial stability, the single mother often turns to the welfare state to as a surrogate, as a substitute for that for a partner. And actually, a study, a survey done in California through the Los Angeles Times found that 64% of poor women said they had a child just to receive the welfare benefits. And so government is being used by desperate people as a replacement for things like family and community. And that is why, in the absence of cohesiveness, government will always increase in size. Humans seek stability. It's why most atheists are authoritarian leftists. It's the same reason why single mothers turn to the government. People look for this. They look for stability. They look for comfort. They look for authority. And so when society is devoid of stability, people will look for that stability in government or other authoritative standards. We've seen a rise in like the religion of wokeness, as people like to call it. It's effectively a cult that acts as a substitute for most of these people don't come from good families. It effectively acts.
Haven't you mentioned? You mentioned religion. I think like that, we're a different society than we're back then in the 1920s. We have so many immigrants that comes in, which brings in different social religion. Like Christianity isn't American, like at the moment it is, but eventually Christianity will be overthrown by Islam. Because since Islam is one of the fastest growing religion in America, and like different religions have different like more like issue. They think differently. People with different religion are not gonna think the same. So we're definitely different like society than we were back in the 1920s. So why don't we can have that? I'm not gonna use this word. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. The natural right or the right to liberty to use weed for our own purposes, our own consuming.
Well, because we government is used to execute the will of the people because the people are inherently flawed and they don't know what is best for them. We can demonstrably measure effectively what is good for people. Take, for example, harm. Harm is by definition bad, and thus inflicting harm intentionally is bad. We can see that as, that's objectively bad because harm by definition is bad. And so when we view it that way, and you have a certain goal, the goal being a stable society, the byproducts being things like justice, liberty, small government, you need to take the measures that will get you to that desired end. And that's restricting people's ability to do whatever they want. It's judicious restraints upon human impulses. This is what law is for. This is what government is for. It's to protect people from their worst impulses.
Well, yeah, I agree that the government choice is to protect people, but to also protect people from their natural right. Oh man, that word's corny. So, what are your thoughts on like rights?
Right.
Let's make sure we're tying this into the main debate topic too.
Yeah. Let's not get into the natural rights argument.
Yeah. I mean, damn, we're already 44 minutes in. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. So I think we should wrap up with closing statements. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just wrap up with closing statements.
All right. I'll go first, I guess. I tonight I think I portrayed that weed legalization has evidently not incurred positive effects for the states that have legalized the substance. I think weed evidently has certain implications upon use. I think it's a surrogate for greater purpose, and it personifies a deeper issue in our society, a culture that prioritizes intemperate frivolities over other long-term considerations. And I really don't think it's a coincidence that as these substances have become increasingly accessible, we've seen the deterioration of the family. We've seen declining religious affiliation. All of these are intertwined. And, if we want to get to that ideal, stable society, prudent restraints upon human impulses are necessary. That's the role of government. And, I don't think we should continue on this slippery slope of weed legalization.
Okay. I think that tonight I have proven that the decriminalization, not the legalization, but the decriminalization of weed definitely needs to happen, and that weed today in a society is definitely big issues, and decriminalization could have positive impact on society and people that are in jail right now, having a way to help minorities and people that have been in prison overall. I respect my opponent today, and maybe realize a lot of things overall, but I hope that one thing that people can get from this debate is like the decriminalization of weed overall is something that needs to happen in the future.
All right. The civil discussion, a lot of this stuff doesn't even happen anymore.
So that was pretty
marketplace of ideas.
I know Jeremy has somewhere to go. I just want to say if you don't want to, we're gonna stay on for a bit for like an after show thing. If you don't want to stay on, that's fine. Like I'm adding Bilva in a bit.
How long
you want to take some questions?
Oh yeah, questions. You guys can do Q&A. So like Jeremy, you can go. Patriot, you can go if you want. Michael, you can go. But yeah, we're gonna do Q&A, some after show stuff. So yeah, just hop off whenever you want. But everyone in the comment section, drop your questions. And, Bilva.
Hey, yo, what's up?
High time preference,
Dude, time preference?
High time preference, bro.
I did a little time preference. Time preference moment
right now.
Yo, based.
Man, you have a lot of opians and paleocons in your comments.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of a paleocon.
Dude, the true conservatives are taking over.
Yeah.
The actual conservative. Yo, what's up, Trey?
Hey,
okay.
Dan wants you to land.
What's up, Sam?
When someone in the comments wants you to link.
Okay.
Yeah, send in the studies. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, just link the studies in chat. Dude, I was eating a smack.
Hi,
fried chicken
Jeremy. How are you doing? This is my, I think, second time speaking to you.
Yeah, what's
Yo,
up?
Jeremy, are you like a
So
paleo?
Yeah, because I believe in like restriction immigration. Because like the massive immigration has a problem. I mean, like it's a fact. Like even people don't want to realize it.
Let me tell you a story, okay? Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you all a story real quick.
Like a nationalist capitalist?
Let me tell a story, okay? So y'all know me as like a paleocon, right? Yo, like a couple months ago, me and Jeremy were like paleo libs, right? Oh wait, shoot! I did not mean to show that. What's going on?
Okay, I'm leaving, guys. It's great talking with you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Nah, dude.
So what's it called? Yo, me and Jeremy did an immigration debate a long time ago, and I was like mad pro immigration. It was me and Jeremy versus what's it called, Jordan B. Yo, we got
Oh wait, you were in that?
Charlie. We got destroyed. We got mobbed.
we got
We got
smashed.
Yeah.
No.
Jordan B is good at immigration beyond belief.
Yo,
Yeah, no, he's
straight up.
good.
Straight up mobbed. Straight up
yo,
mobbed.
we got absolutely. It was Sam and Jordan B, bro. We got mobbed. It was so
Yeah.
bad.
If you're going into a debate with Jordan B on immigration, like that guy knows everything there is to know about it.
Yeah.
Man brought up
Why is Jeremy a
libertarian,
libertarian?
psychological and every single thing. Someone
Jeremy,
said,
are you a
why is Jeremy a libertarian? Yeah.
What, bro? Yo, you need to just become a paleocon, man. You're literally just a paleo. You just
Jeremy, how'd you feel about Joe Jorgensen? You support Joe Jorgensen?
She is so corny. She is so corny. She does not represent the libertarian, bro. She got 1%. Bro, I'm sorry, but
Actually,
they got
1.2%.
1% vote. Oh my goodness. She is
Apparently, there were some places where Kanye got more votes than her.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
terrible. There were what?
There were some places where Kanye got more votes than her.
What the heck, bro?
I mean, that's what you get for going up against Eve.
What's it called? Does someone have like Obama Pill's number? Because I messaged him on Discord. He's not answering.
Daniel, I'm linking the study. I'm linking the studies in this stream for you. I just got.
I'll message him on a Snap.
Tell Obama Pill to join. We'll get him in for like 10 minutes and we can end it. I promise the chat would get Obama Pill. We're getting Obama Pill.
Time to spam Obama.
Yo, can everyone spam Obama Pill to the chat?
Oh wait, he's getting back to me.
I sent him the link already. I told him he has to promise to be optical.
Wait, dude, what do you mean? Obama is optical.
Obama Pill is Obama Pill, dude.
Bro, I literally made my photo Gen Z for Obama Pill just for this debate.
All right.
Dude, my TikTok account is gone.
What?
My TikTok account is gone, man. Just a bunch of femoids.
Yo, Bilba got hoes, bro.
And you know,
Bilba has got hoes.
degeneracy. I mean, anti-degeneracy. Wait, anti.
Yo, bro, you had like 5 different girls posting stuff on your TikTok. You gotta calm.
How did that happen? You got hoes, dude?
Yo, how does the Indian kid have hoes?
Okay.
You got hoes.
Okay, Paleo Asian.
You're fixing their computers for them.
You got okay. So true.
Yo, Bill was packing, bro. I can't believe the 5'1" Indian kid is packing.
I'm like 5'10". Okay, I'm like
that's
5'10".
That's
Okay,
so
you're still a
fast.
man,
You're not
dude.
5'10".
No joke.
You're
I think I'm like 5'9", 5'10".
You're not. No, because I'm
Wait,
like
you
5'11".
think you are? Wait, how do you not know how tall you are?
I'm like 5'9", 5'10". No, like last time I went to the doctors or like measured.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks I'm short.
Bro, you are.
Dude, I'm not. No, you can ask anyone,
short,
man. I am not short.
Who is anyone? You have a peer side review that states if you're short or tall.
Yo, give me a source, bro.
Give me an
Can
author.
someone tell Obama to join, please? Yo, I want to end this. I just want to have
I
Obama
asked him to join, and he's like being weird. He said,
"Yo, I can't ever get a serious conversation out of Obama." Bro.
He responded to me, but like he's just being weird.
Yo, Obama Pill is a different breed, bro. Obama, you have 5 minutes till I'm ending this because I'm not letting this go over an hour.
Why not? Is this like a Zoom?
No, because I have to. I don't want to let Zoomer edit go through like 2 hours worth of footage.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
bro, I'm not even mad that he didn't even get the stuff for the election debate live stream because that was 4 hours and 45 minutes, bro. I wouldn't go through it.
That was crazy.
Dude, we should just delete that. That was like.
That was so unethical. No, but
it's Seth and Romulus.
Yo, listen. We kicked Seth out of ConserveGenz, okay? So like, we won't see that though. Yeah. He's gone. We disassociate from Seth.
No, dude, Seth is actually like
He
a
really
dem
got
sock.
himself kicked out. So
Yo, Seth is a dem sock.
Dude, Seth is a dem sock. Change my
is
mind.
he a Bernie?
Yo,
bro?
we have some fans in here. What's going on? Hey,
Piss kinks are
Belva, LOL.
based. Piss kinks are based.
Yo,
Nice.
Obama built in. Obama built in.
based.
Obama pilled.
Dude,
It's
Obama.
Obama build.
No way.
Mr. President.
Dude,
I think I'm falling
The
in
POC
love.
of
She
color,
said,
man.
"What you know about love?" I
Obama,
said,
turn on
"I
your
got
camera.
what
Turn
you
on your
need."
camera.
Mr.
Walk up
President.
in the store and get what you want. I get what you please.
Yes, we got Obama
Yes.
built
We have
in. there.
Obama pilled, man. King incel.
Yes,
Yo,
sir.
incel.
No,
Obama,
the
how are you
emperor.
doing?
He's not the
You've
king,
been
the
banned from
emperor.
every server I've ever
Yes.
been.
So
I've been
true.
banned from like
Kai
I don't know
clips,
hundreds
all
of
of that.
servers. I've been banned from hundreds
I
of
wa-
servers,
I wonder
and it's not my
why.
fault. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
That's
Why
not
are they
something to
banning
be
you,
proud
though?
of.
All false allegations.
Yeah, it's all false allegations. So true.
Wait, is this true? Obama pilled? Is Obama pilled satire?
Are you satire?
I'm completely
Dude,
serious. and
Obama pilled
99%
is the
of my
future
posts.
of the Democratic
I'm
Party.
the future of
Yeah.
the Democratic Party, and I am the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
Frankly.
he is the Democratic Party.
They took
I'll tell
like
you this, though,
every
I'll tell you
registered
this.
Democrat and mixed them together into one person.
Dude, I
Yeah,
think
That was Obama
generic is
killed.
at track right now.
I'm the combination of every single Democrat, past and present.
I mean,
more of-
I
I'm
won.
like a
What does that even
paleo
look like?
Democrat.
What?
It's
You know
like,
what? I'm not doubting that generic is good at running and jumping, especially walls.
Hey,
Hey, no racism.
I wonder
okay,
why.
no
I wonder
racism.
why.
What are you saying? I'm just saying he looks like that kind of athletic person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He looks like
I
he's
love you,
training in that
Hey,
area.
Obama pilled. How can you be John F. Kennedy and Nancy Pelosi? Isn't that a bit antithetical? Can you
No, they're
explain?
both based liberals.
So,
But I'll tell you this: you have a nice profile picture, Paleo Asian. I like it.
I
It's
know.
very-
Do you like it, Gen Z for Obama?
It's very
Gen Z
based,
for
man.
Obama.
you know?
Gen Z for Obama.
I think I'm just gonna live in the country after Trump
Dude.
loses and Biden wins, because my job is pretty much done. Biden has been elected as the supreme dictator of America.
So true.
Biden is. It's Biden country now. It's not Trump country. It's Biden country.
Biden country.
Yo,
Biden
this man's a
country.
different breed.
You mean it's Kamala Harris country?
Nancy Pelosi kind of bad. Look
You
at
know,
the comments.
people like socialists are.
Yo,
done.
who's simping over? Yo, Spook, what's going on here,
Come
bro?
on,
You
Spook.
suck.
Nancy Pelosi kind of
He's
bad.
right though. Nancy's a baddie. Nancy's a baddie.
Yo,
No.
Spook is kind of
She's
sus,
dumb
bro. You don't
thick.
even
Spook
Nancy.
and Obama,
No.
King incels.
Oh, Obama,
Nancy
your
Pelosi
video
is
showed
a
on my
dumb
For You
thing.
page. Obama, your video's on my For You page. Your video's on my
Nice.
For You page.
Wait, Obama, can you explain
Right.
why
I don't know.
Dean's TikTok profile is Gen Z for Obama pilled?
Yeah, Benjamin Politics has changed his profile picture. Nikki Politics changed her profile picture. All these famous liberals and Democrats are changing their profile
Liberals and
picture
Democrats.
to support the Democratic guys.
So true.
Also, don't
All
forget to
very
drink your
liberal
milk.
and
everyone.
democratic.
Drink your milk. Don't forget that. Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Yo, drink your milk.
You gotta drink your milk.
Obama,
It's true.
what
It's
is-
real?
How do you feel about people who endorse the terrible, no good orange juice pill?
Dude, the orange
juice.
juice pill is based. Okay, the
It's-
orange juice pill is based.
I'll tell you this. Orange juice. The one reason it's bad is because it reminds me of Donald Trump, who is the orange Cheeto
Oh, wait, what
version
is
of
that?
Hitler.
I know where Billville lives.
Trump is the orange version
Yo,
of
drop
Hitler.
it in the
Casey
chat.
plays.
Dog.
This
dog,
is
drop
sus.
it in
Who's
the chat.
Casey plays?
Yo, dog, drop
No,
it in
no,
the
no.
chat. Where's his address?
I know where.
Hey, Agent, shut up, shut up. Who's
We
Casey
live
plays?
You
man?
mean Bolivia?
I'm just drinking some cock and balls. Don't worry about it.
Who's
Yo!
Casey plays?
What did I say? What did I say?
What? What's the problem?
Strike
Is that,
Right,
Dude,
on. You're
dude,
lucky we
optics,
ended like
man.
2 minutes. You're lucky we're only ending in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. How was the stream? How was the debate? I remember when he said freedom is when you can drink drugs, and I have to agree with him. Freedom is when you can
Freedom
drink
is when you
drugs.
can drink drugs.
You
That's the
gotta-
one part I
true.
can agree with.
Obama
you get
pill,
like a
are
daily
you
milkshake,
high
you
or
take
low
all
time
of them
preference?
and
Bilva
put it in
is-
like
hey,
a
wait, what?
blender.
Obama, are
Rumors.
you high or low time preference?
I would say I'm probably like low time preference.
Yeah.
What? That's cap.
No, that's
Low?
cap, man.
Really?
No, dude, come
I-
on. You're autistic. You have to be high.
You're definitely high time
Hey,
preference.
Bilva race mixes
Yeah.
with white girls. False.
Yo,
False.
base
False.
Bilva.
What?
Base Bilva.
No, dude,
Base
the,
Bilva.
the TikToks are false.
Base.
I don't know.
Agent,
What do you
gotta change your
expect?
TikTok
What do you
profile picture to
expect
mine,
from a maple leaf?
bro?
Yo, base Bilva.
Yeah, false.
Yo.
man.
Obama pilled. How do you feel about Angel Schneer going to pride parades?
It's
Bro.
base, right, Obama?
What do you mean I'm
Yeah.
American, bro? I live in America. What do you mean?
Yo, can we not like dox where Obama pill lives, bro?
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't
So
like
true.
the entire country of
Canada.
Canada and like 100 million.
Canada.
I don't want to be.
Yeah, that
No, I-
definitely.
I live in
Obama pill
Hawaii.
lives in DC. What do you?
No, I
he
live in
lives
Hawaii, bro. I live in Hawaii.
Oh, you live in Hawaii?
Do I not look like a Hawaiian? I'm like multiracial, multicultural.
You look like you're from actually.
Go ahead, white woman pill.
How can a person be multicultural?
Dude,
know what?
I'm white woman pill. That's so true.
It's so true, man.
Actually, Mr. Obama pill, you look like you're Israeli, like you're from Tel Aviv.
Yo, is Obama pill Israeli, chat?
How did you know? What? Who told you? This is not true. This is a
Is
myth. This is a
Obama
myth.
pill working
This is
for
a myth.
the
I'm done.
Mossad
This is a
check?
myth. This is a
Yo, Obama
false
pill
lie.
Mossad, bro.
No.
It's the Jewish
this is a
conspiracy
lie.
theory. It's the Jewish conspiracy theory.
All right, well,
The
we're gonna end
personal-
this before we get that.
We're gonna end this.
We're gonna end the stream ASAP.
We're gonna end this now. So everyone who came to watch,
Nilva's
thank
high
you,
time
so-
preference and likes gays. False. That's false.
Yo, can we chill? Yo, let me finish this. Okay, so I'm planning on setting up a Hoppian versus a regular libertarian debate in the future. So if any libertarians want that smoke, I got my boy Generic, the Hoppian.
Generic.
Also,
Also,
down
Paley,
any day.
let's set up a debate between a Democrat like me versus a far left socialist, so we can.
I already
I like-
said. You said no.
I-
You said
What
no.
is this, comrade?
I
Now-
told you I
I
want
want to see Obama in debate.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to be because I'm a moderate Democrat. I want from the perspective of a moderate Democrat. I want to destroy leftists.
Yeah, Obama.
I'm
Wait,
sorry.
everyone shut
Can
up.
we
Everyone
get?
shut up.
Wait. Can we get
Obama,
an
I
AOC
set you up a
Obama
debate.
pill
I said
debate?
Comrade Mel versus you, but you said
Okay,
no.
that sounds good. Okay, yeah, I changed. I'm going with Comrade Mel.
Okay,
I mean-
so you want to debate Comrade Mel for real?
Any leftist that doesn't support Democrats.
Okay, everyone, you heard this here. Obama Code will be debating
Dude,
Comrade Mel with
Comrade- I don't think Comrade
I gotta
Mel is
I gotta
safe.
see when I'm free, but. You know.
Okay, so
Wait,
all right,
guys,
that's it.
when are
I'm
we
ending
getting
the
the
live
Obama
stream.
pill to AOC debate?
When can I debate
AOC.
AOC? Let's go. That's gonna
All
be.
right, I'm ending the
Debate
broadcast.
AOC.